Hey, what is up guys? Today we're checking out 5 new pedals in the Maestro range. Hey, what is up guys? My name is Guillaume, this is Thomann's Guitars and Basses, and welcome to today's video. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Today's not necessarily news, but kind of news because we haven't covered those pedals yet, but Maestro kind of went low-key a few weeks, a month back, not quite sure, and released 5 new pedals to the range that they reintroduced to the world last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was last year. I don't know, time flies. But last year they obviously kind of opened up with the big boys. You know, they had the fuzz, and the Maestro fuzz tone was the first pedal, period, which is kind of massive, and it was a massive release. Really, really good pedals. If you want to check them out, Chris and I did an extensive review of them, and you can find the video somewhere around my face. And those pedals are respectively the Agena filter, envelope filter, the Arcas Comp Sustain, the Orbit Phaser, the Mariner Tremolo, and the Titan Boost. So my plan for today is just to go through those pedals individually, give you some sounds. I've got this Epiphone Les Paul 50s chunky guitar for humbucker sounds. I might pick up the Harley Benton T62 for single coil here and there if I want to sprinkle some of that. But yeah, let's start with the Agena envelope filter that you've already heard in the intro, but that you're gonna hear some more. So the Agena, I'm going to go with that name, and sorry if it's Agena, but Agena is what you can expect from your typical envelope filter, very close to what some people call an auto wah as well. This is a very funky effect. Gibson actually were some of the first to make that widely available. I think at the time was the G2 unit, rhythm and sound thing. I remember that because that song that I just played, that's Redbone by Childish Gambino, was actually recorded through one of those vintage units by the producer of that song. And so I think that's a really cool callback. I don't think that's necessarily that was necessarily Maestro's objective to bring that back, because it is obviously a different circuit. It's a lot more modern, a lot sturdier, kind of just its own standalone thing. But I thought it was a pretty cool callback to that old G2 unit. So you've got sense, attack, and decay controls on it, as well as your high and low pass filters. So depending on the kind of thing you're looking for, this was on the low setting. So it just like the filter triggers on the low end frequencies, and that gives that it works. In my opinion, it's the one that works best for guitar. You might have different results when you pair it with different effects and something that's a little bit more washy. But for that really cool sort of funk guitar sound, I really like that setting. So yeah, that was the Agena envelope filter. Let's move on to the second pedal, which is the Arcas Comp Sustain. And that was the Arcas comp. I was a little bit cheeky, put a little bit of the boost after that, but we'll go back to that individually, and maybe I'm going to play the compressor with some single coils as well, just to give you guys an idea of what it does. It is a compressor, so it compresses. It compresses real good. It's still very musical in the in sort of the sustain that it's going to give you, and it's going to give you a lot of it. It's not necessarily super subtle. Then again, I have it with the controls just about 12 o'clock, so it's not meant to be just kind of always on, but it's fairly present. So you have sustain, attack, and level on the pedal as, you know, knobby dial-ins. I'll swap for the Harley Benton and give you some single coil sounds. And that takes us to our third pedal for today, which is the Orbit Phaser, and that is actually based after one of Maestro's first effects, and if I'm not mistaken, one of all the first phaser pedal in a box. I mean, and that was the Maestro PS1, I think. If not, there will be a text with sparkles on the screen saying that I was wrong. But I think it was the Maestro PS1. So it's a fairly accurate reproduction of that circuit. The cool thing is that on top of the width, rate, and feedback controls, you also have the option to take it from a 4-stage phaser to a 6-stage phaser. Now, if you don't know what that is, look it up. It basically impacts like the waveform of the phaser and how many sort of phases, no, not phases, but like sort of wobbles you're going to have in your sound. So wobble, 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 and if you switch it to 6 stage, it's going to be wobble, 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 wobble. That's the scientific explanation. Essentially what it does is like a 4-stage is going to be maybe a bit more noticeable, a bit more present, because it's easier for the ear to sort of, well, hear basically the different stages, while a 6-stage might be a little bit sort of low-key in the mix, a little bit more complex, a little bit more, you know, no, I don't want to say interesting, but it's just a different flavor. So I'm going to turn it on. I'll be in the 4-stage to begin with, and then I'll flick the switch to go into 6-stage so you can hear the difference. That was the Orbit Phaser, and that takes us to one of my personal favorite effects, which is the Mariner Tremolo. And that was the Mariner Tremolo. Now, it is one of my favorite because it is both a harmonic tremolo as well as a bias, optical, whatever their name is, classic trem circuits. So really what you're getting with that one is sort of two pedals in one, but also a really kind of fine control over the shape of that tremolo. So tremolo, if you're not familiar with the effect, is basically, even more so if we talk about harmonic trem, kind of a vibrato without the pitch shifting, basically. So halfway between that and a phaser. It's super interesting because you don't have as much of a volume dip, which is really well done in that pedal. As you see, I had the depth pretty much maxed out, but it didn't go like all the way up and down on the volume curve. It was fairly consistent. You have a little bit of perceived difference because of that phase cancellation magic happening. But yeah, so on that pedal you got control over the depth, the speed, the type of tremolo, being harmonic in the upwards position or classic if you flick it downwards, as well as the shape of the waveform, which goes on the left side from triangle to, and you can just like dial that in all the way up to a square waveform shape on the right side. Again, don't take my word on it. I have had to digest a lot of pedal information today, so go check out the link in the description to have all the fine details about these pedals. But that was obviously the harmonic mode. I might grab the T62 now and give you some more choppiness. And that leads us to our final pedal for the day, which is the Titan Boost. That is a boost. It is made for boosting. Now, it can boost your guitar straight into an amp. It can boost into other pedals. It's very, very versatile. I think it's got 25 dBs of boost, which, if you're into dBs, it's a lot of them. Really versatile in the sense that it's not just a clean boost. Because sometimes a clean boost with a flat EQ curve is really cool when you're going into something that you can, do the fine sort of dial in afterwards, whether it's a pedal or an amp. But if you're looking to have maybe a little bit more control because you're going to go from humbuckers to single coil, because you're going to go from boosting into an amp and to boosting into a pedal, for example, this is a really good pedal for that, because not only do you have control over the level, the tone, of the boost in itself, but also the option to add a high pass filter. So that allows you to dial in the amount of treble that you want to let through that pedal. So let's say practically, like a practical example would be you using a single coil guitar that's got inherently a bit more treble in the sound. And for that particular use, the flat EQ curve of a boost in front of your overdrive or of your amp will do just fine, because you already have all the treble in the world into that sound. But then you're going to go and switch for this guitar, like a humbucker guitar, say, in general. And in that context, maybe the humbuckers are pushing a little bit more mid-range, but a little bit less treble. You don't want things to get muddy or anything, and that pedal will do a really good job at allowing you to dialing more of that high end into your sound, so you can cut through as much as you want. So I think in that context, I'll give you both guitars, but I'm going to start with the Epiphone, and I'm going to turn it on with just the clean amp. Oh yeah, by the way, I completely forgot to mention, I was running through the Rev D20 for the whole video. The amp is super duper clean. I'm running it into the Harley Benton cab with a Celestion Creamback 75, and that's going into the mic that's in front of it. And so yeah, I'm gonna turn on the boost first into the clean amp so you can hear the boost on its own, and then I'll turn on another overdrive pedal that's here, one of them, and then boost into it. And that was the Titan Boost. Again, super versatile, and it worked really well with humbuckers. I had the high pass on and dialed in just about 12 o'clock. There's still like a lot of wiggle room within that pedal, but yeah, that's about it. Those were the 5 new Maestro pedals. Really, really cool. I'd recommend checking them out. They're super solid, super practical. I'm not going to take them off the board because they were sent on this super tidy and beautiful board, but I did that in the previous video just to demonstrate like how easy they are to manipulate, open, clean, put the battery in and all that good stuff. So go check out that video. I hope this one was useful. Let me know in the comments which one of these 5 are you interested in. What do you want Maestro to do next? What's the next step for them? Some more original designs? You want them to bring back some of the like the old multi-effect units that they did in the 70s, 60s maybe even? Yeah, because you know I'm kind of interested in that, but my voice alone is not enough. So let me know in the comments. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.